wanted to help listeners to understand a little bit more about this FIRE movement and
Yeah.
why is it important to any kind of investors going forward who's looking to maintain, improve, or just create a great life for themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. Happy to share. So for those unfamiliar, and it's not a huge movement, by the way. So if you're not familiar, you're in the norm. I've been doing this pretty much my whole life, and I just learned about it a couple of years ago. So, all new to me too. But FIRE is an acronym, as you pointed out, for Financial Independence, Retire Early. You talk to two types of groups, people that are passionate, love the subject, and those that scrutinize it. And I think the scrutiny is coming from lack of understanding what this is really about and why. This is how I explain it. Forget about the RE, right? FIRE. Forget about retire early, because I think that's where people get confused. A lot of people can only think of retiring in terms of old age and retirement home and playing golf the rest of your life and whatever, sitting on the beach. That's not what this is. Let's focus on FI, financial independence. The concept is make as much money as you can, save as much as you can, and invest the difference. No matter what your background or skill set, that's what I did, as you know, from the oil field. And whether you're a doctor or attorney, whoever, right? You just, whether that's side hustles or whatever, you're just trying to earn the income and put the rest into investments. A lot of people, what they do in this movement is they pile into a low cost index fund, like a Vanguard Total Stock Market Index Fund, VTSX, I think is the ticker. So here's my issue with that is you're subject to the huge swings in the volatility of the market. I don't know when this podcast is going to air, but in the last week of the market, we've been up 4%, down 3%. It's just been chaos. I say, instead of going into the index funds, go into real estate, which is a whole lot less volatile, specific to multifamily and syndications, and just focus on, current income. So let's run some numbers. A lot of people follow the 4% rule. A lot of you may have heard of that. So a lot of financial advisors and traditional Wall Street's going to teach you about a withdrawal rate from your portfolio in retirement of 4%. And the theory behind this is that the portfolio on average, is going to be making like 8% a year. That's the stock market's history in the last 100 years. You're going to be withdrawing 4%. So theoretically, you're going to have this infinite yield curve, right? Because your whole portfolio is compounding as you're withdrawing only half of your annual earnings. Okay, so that's like the most conservative approach. You can apply that to real estate. You can totally do the 4% rule. You just do it off cash flow. So if you're making 8% cash flow, you're just taking 4 off the table and living on it, and then letting the other 4 compound and go into other projects. If you want to be a little more aggressive in the professional investing space specific to real estate, it's not uncommon. In fact, it's probably the norm to be more in like that 8% range of annualized cash flow. You can use 100% of that. Okay, so here's the numbers if anyone wants to write this down and do this. So here's how you factor how much money do I need invested to live on? That's everybody's question, it seems, in the retirement game. They can't put these things together, but it's quite simple. So let's say that you need $40,000, just to use a simple number, a year in income. If you want to use the 4% rule and be as conservative as you can possibly be, in my opinion, so you take 40,000 times 25. That equals $1 million. So you need $1 million invested, whether you're doing the index funds, whether you're doing real estate, to be able to take 4% of that a year, which is 40,000. And live on that. Now, to use that 8% example, same thing. It's 40,000 times, and then you're going to go with half 25. So 40,000 times 12.5, and that's going to take you to 500,000. Right? So you need 500,000 invested at 8% or $1 million invested, at a 4% rate. So that's how you can break that down just in simple terms. That's not a guarantee. That's just a very conservative way of looking at how you can retire. So when I told you earlier that I took out that Excel sheet and I ran numbers on selling all my properties and then investing those at a conservative cash flow number, back then that was 8%. That's the number I used. I realized that was enough income to leave my job. And that's what I decided to do, because I wasn't going to last, till my 60s, working out in the oil field. So I knew I had to get out sooner or later. It's like, why not now?
You'd be able to enjoy your retirement from being what happens when you get worn down, your body's not able to enjoy it.
Yeah. So, and the last thing I want to point out is the purpose. So yeah, okay, the numbers and the analytics, and you get the concept, but why? So this is why I like to drop retire early, because very few people in their 20s, 30s, 40s are going to just retire, right? And do nothing. So you still want to be active. That's where it gets scrutiny, is people make fun of the FIRE movement. Oh, you're retired, right? But you still work. Well, yeah, because you still want to be productive, which is what I did. So I had the financial independence to leave my job and to be self-sustained. However, I didn't want to just quit contributing to the world. So one of the first things I did is I went to go work for a brokerage firm to learn stocks, bonds, and mutual funds, believe it or not, from kind of the inside, right? I wanted that I know it's goofy to think about, but that was actually what I wanted to do. I guess thinking if I could master that stuff plus real estate, I'd be some financial guru. Anyway, I quit like 6 months later. So yeah.
That's the best story right there. I love it.
But
yeah, so
you had the luxury, right? You've created a situation where you can do that. So the
that's my point. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the key takeaway from that. FIRE movement, retire early. You got to choose how you spent your time bettering yourself and the world around you, because you were able to live off the income from your investments.
Right.
And your investments into real estate are less volatile than they are in the stock market. And
Yes.
so you have more confidence that what's going to be coming in each month is going to be consistent compared to something, dropped around the world, overnight, and now you're not going to be getting as much as you thought you were that much.
The concept is the freedom of choice, right? It's having options. That's what it's about. It's just having options. So whether you want to work this, some people just want a career change. They don't want to quit working. They just don't like what they currently do. But there's this fear around living paycheck to paycheck. I can't quit. I can't go 6 months without a paycheck. So they never leave. They just work till their 60s, right? And so whether it's just a career change or it's moving from full-time to part-time, or it's traveling the world, or it's spending more time with kids, or having a spouse, be a stay-at-home, whatever it is, everybody has their why and what they would do. I've heard that question asked my whole life. If you had $10 million in your bank account, what would you do? Everybody has an answer to that.
Buy real estate.
Buy more real estate, have more cash flow. That's what I would do. But anyway, yeah, so that's kind of the beauty of it, right? It's just giving you true freedom just as a human being to make choices that you otherwise may not be able to make.
I really appreciate
awesome.
you dive into that
That's
for us, because who does not like choices, right? No one wants to feel bound to any, especially something that they do not enjoy, right? Because we often hear that a lot of people they wake up every morning early as heck, drag themselves to a place that they do not want to be, so understanding the mindset that, look, I can retire early, or I can create a financial situation through passive investing that give me option to live the life that I choose. Pretty much choice.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I greatly appreciate you diving into that.